Bump! Hello, and welcome to Double Dragon Trouble, our weekly D&D stream where we play a homebrew campaign set in the Forgotten Realms. The setting is Tiamat, the Queen of Dragons, have taken over the world, and the Dragon Cultist is in control of everything, but luckily some are resisting. I'm your Dungeon Master, and joining me are three magnificent players, and starting with those who are still alive, we have Lucas Barr, playing Bethrogar World Throne, the Angry Dwarf Barbarian. Then we have Hildeberg Harriganer, playing Bright Scratch, the Stealth Master and Ceiling Connoisseur, Tabaxi Fighter. And then we have Chris Jørgensen, playing Dagos, the dead fish out of water. Oh my god,
how dare you?
Dead in the water. Triton Paladin.
Thank you.
Alright. So a brief recap of everything that has ever happened in the world. Dragons everywhere. The heroes have joined the resistance. They are on a mission to find out what a caravan of dragon cultists are up to. They have been traveling through the lands, through Dagger Fort, which will help liberate from the cultists. And they are now on the river Delimbia at a stone circle, owned or formerly owned by an old crone that knew something about souls. She made a ritual which drew upon the spirits of the land to allow Dinok, the other player character who's not here today, to use his elven trance to locate the lost souls of Dagos and Dinok because they lost them in a bargain with a hag. While he was on his spiritual journey, the rest of the party defended him from the evil spirits that also used this window of opportunity to attack him. And in the fight, Dagos was killed.
No.
So we left off with basically the end of the fight. So we will begin where we left off. It is the dawn after the battle. The sun is rising in the horizon. Dagos' corpse is still lying on the ground. The dew making the grass around him wet. His face is old and withered because of that's what ghosts do to you. So, Bright Scratch and Bethrogar, you can see that Dinok, he has been released from his bonds that held him firmly to the ground during the ritual. And he is awake, but he seems distant, as if he is thinking about a lot, as if he's taking in a lot of stuff, processing it. So he's very quiet at the moment, not very responsive. He's not even reacting to the fact that Dagos is lying dead over there in the grass.
Oh.
So, what do you want to do?
I get pissed of the whole situation and I start breaking stuff around me in anger.
So you're in the stone circle. That's the old crone's hut. So I guess you can break that if you want to.
Yes.
So you just start systematically pulling off the thatch and pulling the beams down and breaking all her parts.
Yeah.
Pushing all the rocks. Just leveling the place.
Yes, that's what I do. In anger.
Can I have a glass of something?
I think you found a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah, let's just start drinking that.
Alright, so Bethrogar, you're drinking the bottle, while Bright Scratch is just deconstructing the old crone's hut.
Yeah, it's all good. We're handling this crisis perfect.
And meanwhile, Dinok is just sitting there, rocking back and forth.
Yeah, and I've looted Dagos' corpse, so we have all this stuff. Now we just need to find out what to do with the butt.
I stop for a second breaking stuff. I go over to Dinok and I gently slap his face like, wake up, dude.
It's like,
Get a grip.
I've seen so many things.
Yeah. Well, here's another thing. Look on the ground.
He looks on the ground right in front of him.
No. I point to
The grass is so wet.
I point to Dagos' body.
He looks over, and you think there's shock in his eyes, and then he just starts drooling.
Why are you drooling?
Player missing.
He looks up at you. I think I know where his soul is. I think I know where my soul is. I've been on a journey. I saw a place of damp darkness, and then there was light. A whole feasting hall. And the hag, some kind of hag, carrying our souls in a vessel.
Well, I think it's too late for Dagos to get back his soul. I don't know, but
We can't use his soul for much right now.
but your soul, sure.
Well, the crone did say that as long as the hags have our souls, we will not be able to resurrect. But if we get our souls back, there's a chance that you can bring him back. And he points at Dagos. This does not have to be the end.
I want to try that shit.
Let's get his soul back.
And he sort of like looks down, tries to concentrate. While you were fighting, the spirits of the land came to me. Some of them were good, some of them were evil. And they showed me the way. They knew the way. They took me away far to the east to a great forest. And in the heart of the forest there was this old fortress. It was made of black stones. It was a terrible place, but it was also abandoned. The forest reclaiming. And in the basement of this place, there was this chamber full of mushrooms and amazing spiders, purple and green ones that I've never seen before. And then there were these two trees standing close to each other. And instead of leaves, they had roots growing into the ceiling.
Can we go there though? Like, is it easy for us to travel over there?
I think it's quite some distance, but I think I know the general direction. There were mountains in the forest.
What do you say, Bethroga? Should we try?
I think we should definitely try.
Good to know.
I am ready. I am so ready.
Well, I want to do all I can to get your souls back. Because you sacrificed so much for us.
I appreciate that. But that now it remains, what do we do with and he indicates Dagos' body.
We'll bring him.
Alright.
I will carry his body if I have to.
Don't we still have the carriage?
Your chariot was left behind in a Daggerford.
Damn it.
You couldn't bring it on the boat, and even if you could, you no longer have Steve to pull it.
No, Steve is gone.
Damn it!
That's an even bigger loss.
We lost Steve!
Group mount.
I crawl. Is there a tree I can crawl up on?
Well, there are trees nearby, but they're not on the top of the hill, so you could probably get the best view by climbing one of the standing stones.
Okay. Then I'll do that. To see if I can see any stables or wild horses or anything.
Alright. You climb onto the one of the rocks, one of those you haven't tumbled yet, and make a perception check.
Okay. 15.
15. You look around, and despite your high hopes, you don't find a stable just standing in the middle of the wilderness. And you don't even see any settlements, any signs like trails of smoke or anything. You are pretty much in the middle of the wilderness at this point.
Mm.
And you don't see any wild horses running around either.
Then I this is fun. I have rope. I have a 50-foot long rope or something.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I take Dagos' body on my back and I ask Pedroga to help me tie his arms and feet around me as I carry him like
It's
a
like a
backpack.
back. What the fuck?
Sure.
All right.
Sure. That's the most morbid thing I've ever heard.
Why did
Sure.
it?
So
Why did
you
it have to
spend,
be the biggest guy in the entire group who died?
So, do you undress his armor? Because, I mean,
Oh yeah.
all right.
Good choice.
And then you spend 10 minutes turning Dagos into some sort of backpack.
Nee!
I just wanna bring him with us. I don't wanna leave him behind.
I mean, Dinok is just sitting there and looking. That's reasonable. Just because he's dead, it doesn't immediately make his body disgusting.
No,
No. That's gonna take a while.
I can handle it.
That comes later. And
No,
you can just feel the warm spring sun starting to beat down on you from as it's rising in the east.
don't know if we should take like a rest before going on because I don't think that I'm doing too good. I could use a little bit of patching up.
Sure.
I say, pointing to all my wounds and like my necrofied flesh.
I'm like, oh, okay, we can do that. I
Alright.
just sit down with Dagos on my back, like,
Dinok's alright. You can sleep in the crow's hut. Oh, and he looks over and it's just like pulled apart. There's like
It's gone.
one beam sticking out of the ground.
We'll go in the morning.
Sure thing.
Technically, it is the morning.
We'll go in the afternoon.
Very good.
Cool.
So you sit down and you rest. You find some of the food supplies in the old crone's hut, so you can eat those. Drink more of her whiskey, and basically while the day away. And then towards the afternoon, as the sun gets closer to the horizon, you feel well rested. So you
Nice.
regain all your hit points and spell slots if you have them.
That's
Hit dice if you have spent them. And in this time, Dagos' body has started to smell a bit. Not a lot, but a bit. And it's this weird, fishy smell.
I'll try not to eat him since I'm a cat.
Also, his skin has gone like slightly slimy.
Nice.
Good backpack.
Lovely.
We should probably hurry finding those souls.
Hey, Dinok, show us the way.
All right, I think the fastest way is if we keep on traveling on the river. The river is going east, and it points to the east.
Okay, so do we still have the boat down there?
You look down and you can see your boat is still there as you left it, but there's also another boat,
Crap.
and it is tied to the shore right next to your boat. And you can see as you look down from the hill down towards the boats, two figures are climbing out of it. One of them is a dragonborn, a copper-skinned dragonborn, wearing some basic leather armor, a big sword on his shoulder, over his back. He has like a backpack over the other shoulder, a rudimentary cloak, and he's sort of like speaking to the other one. I think we can find them up here. And the other one, Chris, you can describe what the other one looks like.
Sure. He looks human. Looks about average height, maybe a little smaller. He would probably wear sort of armor you've probably seen before, because it's dragon cultist armor. sort of a red armor with gold trimming, and as well as a cloak. He's not wearing the hood, but it is available to him. And he has sort of a short but swept back black hair that is starting to gray in some areas, especially the sides, as well as the beard he has. That it's not like a full-on wizard's beard, but it goes a little bit beyond his face. And the same deal, black and with a little graying. Sort of. Oh, and he has very. I don't know if you can see that from here, but his eyes are sort of weird because they're like golden. Definitely not a natural color.
But you see that when he looks up at the hill as you're standing up at the top, sort of like silhouetted against the sky.
Yeah.
Oh, and he has a spear he uses as a walking stick.
So your beard is like grayed in a stylish way, so it's like one white stripe down the middle.
Yeah, you know, it starts graying a little here. You know, it looks good.
All right, the Dragonborn also looks up and he sees you and he's like waves, "Hello!
Hello.
I can't believe we found you even."
Is the accent what I think, like, does the accent belong to who I think it does, or do all Dragonborn just sound like that?
Good question. This Dragonborn, I mean, it looks like a Dragonborn that you know.
I know.
Starts climbing the hill towards you.
I start walking down towards them.
By Bahamut, it was so difficult to find you. You've been traveling so fast. We lost you a bit on the road, but we found you again. I'm happy.
I just stand there like.
I'm just like standing there. Get up the list! How did you survive?
I really didn't. It's a long story.
But you didn't, but you did?
The cultists, they resurrected me so they could interrogate me. They put me in the jail, but then someone set off a riot, and I was able to escape. And I found this guy, and he points towards the guy standing next to him.
Oh.
And I helped him. You could say that he owes me his life. So I made him come along as I tried to find you again.
I just sort of sigh.
He has a life debt to me.
Right.
Well, what is the name of this stranger then?
I'm Balthasar. You left quite a trail of bodies in your wake.
Yeah,
We kinda had to.
I burned
Good thing
down.
I did. Made it easier to track you.
True.
And he looks over Brightscat's shoulder at Dagos just hanging there. What's wrong with the fish man?
He died. Unfortunately.
Dead?
Yes. But him and Dinok has lost their soul a while ago. So now we're on the mission to try and get the souls back. So maybe we can resurrect him.
How did it happen?
Well, there were a lot of raids and souls and a lot of chaos. We tried out a ritual and it didn't go very well. Like went less than ideal, as you can see. But
When did it happen?
about last night.
He turns to Balthasar and just slaps you on the shoulder. You fool! If we had been traveling that night that I said we should have traveled, we would have been here in time. Now look at him. He points at Dagos. Look at him.
Well, it was really powerful spirits though.
Yeah.
That we were fighting.
And if we had traveled that night, we would have arouse some suspicion.
And they kicked our ass and I couldn't cut them in half, so... But what has happened has happened.
But do you guys want to help us trying to get the souls back?
I just look up at Grubberluft.
Of course, he doesn't look at you. He just looks at the party. Of course. And this guy, he has promised to help. He's going to help as well.
Yes. So, where are we going?
I look at Dinok and ask him, or I just look at him like, yeah, Dinok, where are we going?
A dark fortress in a dark forest.
Heading east.
Lovely.
Nice.
Can we use your boat?
Of course. It would be a shame to just leave it here.
Thank you. Apparently it said the easiest way is travel east by the river.
Yes. The southern bank it's patrolled by these snake people. It's dangerous. It's best that we stick to the river.
Yeah. So, shall we go?
You probably should.
Before he starts to smell up even more and get more slimy.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
I suppose so.
Can't you do something about that? You have something like that. Golden magic.
Do you want me to make him not smell?
I don't know. What can you do?
I can try. I
just wanna
prestidigitation.
untie him first and put him like gently on the boat, like lay him down.
Folding his arms and just push him off a waterfall. Oh, wait!
I use prestidigitation to attempt to make the body smell like a nice probably that. Just flowers. Just nice flowers.
Alright. A sickening sweet smell of flower starts to spread instead of the fishy decay.
Is that enough?
It's better.
Thank you.
Do we know how far we're traveling?
I have no idea.
Alright.
It's Dinok that just knows the way of it. But do you actually know, Dinok, how far it is?
He moves to answer the question and then just.
Yeah, okay.
I suppose we better get going then.
Yeah.
Like,
Just prepare for some fighting there.
I am always prepared.
Yeah,
We've
had
been
plenty of
traveling
that
all
already.
night and all day, but I will still have my strength. And this one, it pushes Balthazar a bit. He also has some strength in those thin arms of his.
cool.
I just like sigh again.
Then we must go. I will sail our boat and you'll sail yours.
That sounds like a reasonable arrangement. Let's do it. Come on now! And he jumps into the boat. Balthazar, you can row.
I just get into the boat. Oh, a little character detail, just so I don't have to do it every time. But every once in a while, Balthazar is probably coughing like quite a lot. Just a lot.
Also, who took Dagos' cloak of billowing?
Well, I have all of his stuff, so...
Okay. Have you put it on?
No.
Alright.
Double cloak. Doesn't Bethroga already have a cloak?
I already have a cloak. It would be silly.
But it is a cloak of billowing.
I don't know what a cloak of billowing is.
Alright. They get into the boat. Balthazar, you get into your own boat. The boat that you've been traveling with for a few days. And the rest of you get into the other boat. Dinok climbs on board as well. Pack all your stuff, and then you set off into the night, I guess.
Yeah.
Traveling up the river.
Into the night.
Very good. So you travel up the river, and at some point, night turns to day, and you see this wild countryside slowly pass by. There are some farmsteads on the northern bank in the distance, but they all look abandoned. Some of them are burnt down. And to the south, there's just this hilly landscape that slowly is replaced by a flat, marshy area that seems to go off forever into thick banks of mist. And you travel for about 3 days, consuming rations if you got them. And on the 4th day, you can see a settlement in the distance. The first thing you see is the structure of a tower poking above one of the hills. And then slowly more buildings approach as you make your way towards this small town.
Oh.
And when you get a bit closer, you can see that this town also appears to be abandoned. This is it's a larger settlement, pretty much about the size of Daggerford, just without the walls and no keep. But a pretty large town appears to be abandoned. As you make your way on the river, amongst the first buildings, you can see there are like jetties, wharves here and there, where you can tie your boat or moor your boat if you want to go ashore. And the destruction of this town appears to have happened a good while ago. Decades, perhaps. Grass growing in the streets. Trees, small saplings are growing inside some of the houses that you can see. And a lot of the timber work is blackened by fire.
Would I know which town this is? Or was?
Well, I guess
I'm
if
from
you look on the
Neverwinter,
map,
that's a little while away.
yeah. You can make a, I don't know, history check. Just an intelligence
Sure.
check.
Intelligence. Alright. Let's see. 11.
11. All right. So if you're probably looked at a map at some point. So you know that traveling up the river from Daggerford, there's only one large settlement that you would encounter, and that is the town of Secomber. And the rest of you, when you were in Daggerford, Pike Daggerford talked about Secomber, and also the old crow talked also about Secomber. So a lot of people talk about Secomber for some reason. And now maybe you see why. It's a ruined husk of a settlement.
Does anyone know what happened here?
No idea. Or do I know what happened here?
You remember that the crone talked about the fate of Secomber, and she insinuated that it had something to do with the dragons. Apparently, the city or the town resisted the dragons at some point. She didn't specify when, but you think that at least she thought that was the case.
So, dragons were probably the cause of why the city is barren. I think the crone said that they resisted or something. Dragons probably weren't too happy about that. Real bastards. Them dragons.
Right. I forgot about the dragons.
You forgot about the dragons.
Good Ballistus looks at you. How can you forget about them? They're everywhere.
They're taking over the world.
Yeah, I haven't been here for very long. Let's just say it like that.
In this town, neither have we.
No, in this existence. I've been gone for a while. Last I was here, everything was good.
Don't understand. I've lived on the sea and spent the last 40 years in drunken madness, and I even know about the dragon.
I haven't been on this plane of existence. So,
Where have you been?
that
Can
is
we go there if it's safer than this place?
definitely not safer than this place.
Eh,
And I couldn't tell you where it was.
Why?
I don't know the name. No one told me.
Fair enough.
you seem like a strange fellow. Globalist, you sure that he's okay? Because don't seem to be able to identify where he comes from.
He's a bit strange, but he has proven himself in combat.
Well, if you can hit things, then it's fine. We need people who can hit things.
I can certainly try.
Come to think of it, I haven't actually seen him hit something, but I've seen him try to hit something. I'm just joking. It's a joke, Balthazar, and he punches you on the shoulder.
And as to where I'm from, originally I'm from Neverwinter. So, that might be a place you know.
Yes, that place is fucked today.
Yes.
It's ruled by a green dragon. It's a huge swamp.
Well,
Might have to go there. Anyway, yes.
should we move on and try to fix the souls thingy? Do we need anything from the town?
Well, we don't know what's in there. Could be supplies. Could be.
Could be. There could also be various dangerous things coming around, but we could look for supplies as well. I mean, we only have 2 health potions. And
if someone, when the city was sacked, put away some whiskey perhaps, then now it's super aged. So
that would
really
be
exclusive.
a really nice idea. Great idea. We're looting the town. I think it would be a great idea to loot the town,
But-
in fact.
What
You say that as you throw the empty whiskey bottle overboard.
Yep.
What should we do about Dagos?
Let's
him in
leave
the
him
boat.
on the ship.
He's not
Maybe.
going to go anywhere anyway.
No.
Maybe have him lay in the water and tie him to the boat. Maybe being in the water will slow down the rate of decay.
Yeah, we could do that.
I mean, if we're going to return his soul to his body, you might do our best to preserve it.
Sounds like a great idea. I take my rope and I tie him like to the boat as well, and just like
And then you like lower him to the water, and his body sort
Just
of
floating in the water.
sinks under. And you're like looking over the railing of the boat, and you can just see his face slowly disappearing into the muck.
oh, that's creepy.
And then comes back up a bit.
Alright. Well,
I'm like, okay, time to go.
But it wasn't creepy when we were wearing him as a corpse backpack. Should have written that in our inventory. Corpse backpack.
well,
But
whoever wants to lead, go for it.
I've never been here before, so I don't know.
I haven't either. I have no idea what's in there. But I mean, I have a giant axe, so maybe I should be the one leading.
Well, we don't know the situation in town. We don't know if it's threatening or not. So maybe don't like barge in with an axe.
Just wanna hit things with my axe. Hit things that aren't raves. I want to hit things with my axe that it actually hurts.
Well, regardless of if it's a threat or not up there, I don't think it's gonna be civilized by the looks of it. I could be wrong.
No.
I don't know a lot about what the fuck is going on, really.
Well,
I think we should be on guard, but not make the first move, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
Don't start up anything that we don't have to start up, if we can avoid it.
Very well then. I will not cut anyone in half unless I have.
Not yet. Maybe you will.
Oh, I definitely will. It's just a question of when.
Yeah. I start walking up.
I lean over to Grubalushten. This is quite the group.
Oh yeah, they're great warriors. Every one of them.
That is yet to be seen.
And I'm like, I can hear you.
They're coming out of the water next to you.
So should we go?
All right, so you tie the boats up, some jetty. You get on shore, and you look around. There are like buildings here and there. The streets are going off in a direction, and you can see what looks like a ruined temple in a square. So you walk around, looking. So it looks like the place has been sacked and possibly looted, and then been abandoned for many years. So you don't find any red apples lying around or anything. You do find a bush of raspberries, but they're not ripe.
Darn it!
But when you get to the town square, you see there's the old tavern, classic tavern. And as you look at it, you can hear a voice coming from inside. You can't hear what's being said, but there's certainly someone talking in there.
Can I try to see if I can hear what is being said in there? Just reading my...
Sure, make a perception check.
Yes. What modifier is that? I forgot.
That is wisdom.
That's not gonna go. Okay. Yeah, that's a natural one. I'm not hearing anything.
Like you move to listen closer. I don't know, but there's like a bird sitting nearby just.
I'll try it as well.
All right.
What was it again? Was it
Perception with the wisdom.
Okay. Unnatural 20 actually.
All right. So you also try to listen, and you can hear the voices saying something like, "Oh, I can't see anything." And then another voice, "Well, maybe you should try to take that bucket off your head, man." And the first voice, "Wow. No. Don't be ridiculous. Have a drink."
What?
I won't say no to that.
Well, do they seem dangerous?
They seem kind of fucked up and drunk.
Perfect, let's go in.
Because one of the guys has a bucket on his head and he complains he can't see anything, but he doesn't want to take off the bucket. And then they talked about drinking. So yeah, let's go in.
Perfect.
All right, so I guess you just like push the door aside with your axe.
Yeah.
So the first thing these two guys see is just this axe coming into the room, and then you burst in. You can see there's this tap room with broken furniture and a lot of dust and cobwebs and stuff, grass growing through the floor. And then in the middle of it, there are these two guys sitting in plain clothes, and both of them have a bucket on their head. One is a dwarf, the other is a human. And you can just see from the dwarf, there's like a red beard sticking out under the bucket. And they sort of turn around in their chairs as you enter, a bottle of wine in one hand. The other one has a bottle of some clear liquid. And sort of, whoa! We did not expect company here.
Neither did we. But here you are.
And here you are.
Who are you?
I am Max the Bucket. And this is my friend, Dwarf the Bucket. Is that right? And the dwarfs are like, aye, that's right. It's like sort of folding his arms, nodding, but still with a bucket completely covering his face.
I nod and look at Right Scratch. They seem harmless.
Yeah. They're just good old drunkies, I guess.
Strange place to meet strangers.
Indeed.
Quite the coincidence.
Or maybe not.
Some might say that fate brought us to this meeting.
Some might say that it was actually coincidence.
And the dwarf just is like, come on, just tell them about the prophecy. Please, I'm trying to do some theater here.
Prophecy?
Now you ruined it. Well, yes. You see, we were out drinking in a small town, many miles from here. Insofar looks up into the ceiling, still with his bucket completely covering his face.
Okay, beautiful.
And that was when we got this strange message from someone. He staggered into the tavern and he spoke words. He said that the treasure that we had been carrying for so long would find its owner in the tavern of Secomber. But he said it in a way so Secomber rhymed with owner. So he said like Secomber, something like that. And so we decided to go and check it out. And here we are. And then you showed up. So maybe you are the rightful owner of the treasure that we've been carrying for so long. And they were also like, well, we have spent some of it, but there's a bit left.
I'll take it.
But we need to be sure that this treasure belongs to you. We were led to believe that you would have some kind of note with some writing on it. Probably some weird arcane language.
I take up a piece of paper and hold on 2 seconds, I'll find it in my bag. Then I write something in Draconic.
It's like, what is that? I can hear pen scratching. Are you forging this?
No. That's just the sound of the paper.
The dwarves are like, I think they're trying to forge papers. I don't think they have the paper.
Yeah. I guess I shouldn't meta game on this one.
You can do that.
We have the paper.
We have the paper?
Yeah, that's what I told you. You have the paper. I don't know what these drunks are talking about.
I look in my bag with all of Dagos' stuff.
So you look at it, and there's just like his underwear, like some apples he brought, some rations, and then in the middle of it, this piece of paper that you found with all these weird arcane symbols, and then the number 170 written on it.
Ah, yeah, we have it. Here.
He takes it and then holds it under the bucket. There you go. Perfectly all right. You don't need to try to fool anyone when you have the right documents.
I didn't try to fool anyone. You're just drunk.
Nonsense. And he takes a swig from his bottle.
Exactly.
And hands it to the other dwarf, and he takes it. Aye, everything seems to be in order. And the guy sort of like looks around, confused for a moment. And then reaches down, brings out his backpack, then rummages around. As I said, we did spend a bit of it. Just a small bit. But we have been carrying this around for a long time, so no problem there. It should be 140 gold pieces left. And he hands it to you, Bethorgo.
Well, why do you have this?
It's a long story. Me and my friend here, we were sailing one day, but then we were attacked. Our ship was attacked by dragons, and the ship wrecked, and we were sent ashore on this strange deserty island, and there was this weird, almost cult. They weren't the dragon cultists, it was something else, and they controlled the island, and it was hard days, but we managed to break out, and on the way we collected this treasure. But before we could get into a boat, this old crone came up to us and said that we had escaped, but not without a price. This treasure that we would carry, we would have to hand over when the time was right. And then she gave us this note. Been spending, 10 years Aye, 10 years. 10 years trying to figure out where to put this treasure. So I'm glad that this burden is finally gone, because I must say it has been hard not to spend all of it. Aye, maybe hard. I said we should have done it anyway.
While they're talking, I'm just Brad Scratch is just like, I'm just gonna use the kitty litter for a few seconds.
Sure.
Is it around the back or where is it?
I think that's, somewhere in the backyard.
Okay.
It's probably burnt down a bit.
It's fine. I can handle it.
Alright.
Seems fascinating. Do you know anything about this town, or did you just stumble upon it randomly?
Well, not randomly. We came here because the old crone instructed us to do it.
Huh.
But about the town itself, I don't know. I don't hail from these parts of the world. And my friend here, neither does he. But I suppose it's one of those towns that try to resist the dragons.
That's what we were told as well.
There was some guy who talked about it in the tavern. He said something that they didn't resist in the beginning, but there was an uprising at one point where they threw out the local dragon cultists. But the dragons came back and they did this to the place. Good for us, because they didn't find the wine cellar.
Where is the wine cellar?
Down the stairs over there.
Okay.
We can't carry all of it. Even if you took off these buckets and filled them with all the bottles we could carry.
No, but I have a boat.
Well, that might be able to help with all of it. You don't mind just leaving a few bottles, do you?
I consider it.
Much appreciated.
Sorry about that, guys.
Well,
So Bright Scratch returns from the backyard. There was an outhouse, but sort of the top had been ripped off, and there was sort of like a skeleton inside. Just it had to push aside.
I make my way down to the wine cellar.
You walk downstairs,
her.
open door, and there's sort of like this sucking sound as you push open the door, so you know this wine cellar is fresh. And dust falls down in front of you, and you can see just rack after rack of bottles.
I smile. And I just walk in and and start carrying 2 barrels upstairs.
I
You
just
just,
grab
like,
the single closest bottle.
You start pick down one bottle. Oh, this is a good one, and then this is an even better one. Oh, I love this, and then see there's an entire barrel of it. I'm taking this. Oh, and there's another one.
Yep. I'm carrying, or maybe I can only carry 1 barrel. I just take 1 giant barrel and carry it upstairs.
Right, so suddenly there's just a barrel appearing from the stairs leading down to the basement.
I just walk up like, did you 2 see anything else of value in this town, or is it just magnificent wine?
Well, we haven't really explored, but we did find some horse dung out in the back. It looked fresh. I think someone has been here.
Fascinating information.
You're welcome.
Do anybody else want to look around more in this town, or should we just get this to the ship?
I think I'm good.
Sure. I mean, this is my adventure. I just follow. If you feel you have enough supplies, then
I have wine. But maybe we could check some of the other houses to see if there's anything useful if we...
Yeah.
sure.
The 2 people with the buckets also get up. Well, it's been a pleasure. We better get to a more lively place than this. Believe it or not, but there are lively places still in this world. Come along. And they go down to the wine cellar, emerge with arms full of bottles, and then just walk out the tavern and starts walking down the road.
I walk outside. Do I see any kind of butcher or something that has food?
There's a butcher shop across the road next to the temple.
I go to the butcher shop.
Right. Push the door open. It's very bright inside because the roof is missing. So there's just sunlight beaming down in this place. There are like a few shelves, a desk, and you can see in the back room there's some hooks and some cleavers and stuff. And then there's one table with some kind of like, it looks like dirt, pretty much. Some moldy dirt with a bone sticking out of it.
Is it only like cow meat and stuff, or is it fish there as well?
Well, you're not sure what kind of meat it is.
Oh.
You can make a nature check to try to identify it.
Yeah.
While she's doing that, I go to the temple.
7.
You don't know. You
Okay.
think it's meat or was meat at some point because there's a bone stuck in it.
So, what kind of meat is this? If there's anyone to talk to here, hello?
I'm
Well,
in the temple.
it's not edible,
Mm.
at least I think. But you'll have to excuse me, I'll just go back to the ship with this giant barrel. I'll be back shortly.
Alright, so you are just left alone in this dilapidated butcher house.
Yeah.
So Balthazar, you walk into the temple, and this building also has a huge gap in the roof, so there's a lot of sunlight streaming down. And there's some shattered furniture lying here and there, some broken pieces of masonry and stuff, some statues that has been tumbled.
I just wanna look around, see if there's anything of note, any books, any symbols, anything like that.
And you hear the familiar voice in your head. I don't think you will find anything of value here. This place is desecrated.
Well, you never know, do you?
It's true. Ever the optimist. Make a, let's say, a perception check as you rummage around.
Alright. 6.
6. You look around. You don't find anything. For a moment, there's a book, and you open it, and it just turns to ash and falls down in front of you.
Alright, well, you were right once again.
One day you will be right.
I follow him into the temple or whatever it was.
Right, so Balthazar, as you're about to leave, a bright scratch enters, so you sort of like do that. Whoa!
There's
Did
nothing
you,
in here.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask you if you found something interesting or useful.
Burnt books, pieces of roof.
Hmm.
I think all holy symbols and symbols of prayer has been long gone for a while.
Yeah. Maybe we should just go on from this town. I don't think it's much more to.
I follow Gurbalust. Whatever you decide, I suppose. What is your name, by the way?
Me?
Yes.
I'm Bright Scratch.
Bright Scratch. You're a tabaxi,
can-
right?
Yes. You can just call me Bright.
Bright. Alright. I'll see if
I
can
am
remember.
back.
You want to carry another barrel?
Yeah, I was just back at the wine cellar, and I'm just going to take this back with me.
So you've been down to the boat with one. So while Bright Scratch and Balthazar is having this conversation, just in the background, we see like you return to the tavern and then come out with another second barrel.
Did you find anything useful in here?
No,
Good.
not particularly.
Your name was Balthazar, was it?
Yes, that's the name I go by. Balthazar.
Okay. Ah, Balthazar, not Balthazar.
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 I suppose
Okay.
that depends on how your dialect. Anyway.
So,
Names
Bethro-
start with B.
oh damn it! We got rid of 2 D's. Now we have 2 B's. No, we have 3 B's. Jesus.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right. So, Bethroga, while you're carrying that down, I want Bright Scratch and Balthazar to make perception checks.
Okay.
And meantime, Bethroga, you get down to the boat, put on the barrel on the deck, and you can see Dagos' corpse just floating in the water next to the boat.
Natural 20.
Natural 20?
12.
12. All right. So, Bright Scratch, as you're having this conversation, you notice out of the corner of your eye something, and you look over on the ground, and at first you don't really know what you're looking at, but then you realize it's footsteps that's been trodden into the ground, the muddy ground.
Okay.
And it's not just like a few footsteps. It's like a lot. As if someone has been walking back and forth around here. Many people, perhaps. And they seem to be like covering this area and then moving down towards the river. Not where your boats are moored, but a bit further up the river.
Okay. Do you see look at all these footprints?
Oh. Do they look fresh?
You make survival checks.
Sure.
Can I also do it?
Sure.
10.
So,
Unnatural. No, wait. No, 19. Sorry,
19.
I was gonna say unnatural 20, but it was 15 plus 4, so...
Alright, so Balthazar, you like stoop over, look down at them, and then Bright Scratch just jumps down on the ground in front of you, just covering your view, looking at it, checking the moisture of the footprints and stuff. You think they were made probably, like some of them are older, but the freshest that you can see were made sometime in the previous day.
Well, there is some older footprints here, but the freshest one is only a few days old, maybe.
You think the oldest are probably maybe two days old.
Okay, and the freshest one, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a short time span in the past.
So they're pretty fresh, let's say it like that.
Well, Gurbalusht has told me a little bit about what you're doing here. Could it be the cultists that you are following? Unless you've already done that. I don't know.
No, we stopped by the cabin up there.
So that would mean that they're a bit ahead of you.
I would think so, yes. Or I know they're ahead of us because we were chasing them, so...
It's certainly a possibility.
Should we go and check it out?
Like, follow the footprints.
Yeah.
I come back all sweaty. What are we
You're about to
doing?
go in for a third barrel, but then you can see they're really interested in the ground.
Are you alright?
That's some heavy stuff.
You
But
like
it
wine?
was worth it. What are we doing?
Well, there's some pretty fresh footprints here that's leading down further up the river than where we parked our boat. So I kind of want to check it out if it's the... what is the name again? The cultists.
Cool, yeah.
Well, sounds like a fine idea. Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, so you follow the footsteps, and you can see they're sort of spreading out to make like an area, and you can see there clear evidence of a camp. See, there have been some tent poles here stuck in the ground. There's some bones from some kind of a recent meal left over next to the remains of a campfire. There's some broken equipment that's been abandoned. Like small piles of ash, maybe from tobacco from pipes. Kind of like crumbs of bread on the ground, that sort of stuff. And then down at the river, you can see marks on the bank of the river for maybe 5 boats or so that has been dragged a bit on shore, but then obviously been pushed back again and are no longer to be seen.
Can I take a closer look at some of the stuff lying around?
Sure. Is there anything in particular you're looking for?
Let's try the bits of ash. Maybe I can.
Alright, make an investigation check.
What modifier is that?
That's intelligence.
Okay. 17.
Oh, alright. So you pick up a bit of the ash and sniff it, sort of like turn it over in your palm, sort of like, yes, this has the distinct smell of the tobacco that is most common in Waterdeep, because there's not a lot of luxury production of goods anymore because of the dragons. So it has been very like streamlined. So there's pretty much only one type of tobacco being smoked in a Waterdeep. And this smells like it.
So they're coming from a Waterdeep, most likely. At least they've been there.
Well, that just confirms the theory, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, what do you value most? The cultists or finding the souls? What is the number one priority?
Well, the souls have a time limit because we have a body that is rapidly decaying. So.
Cut to the body lying next to the boats.
But if the cultists get too far ahead,
that would be
might not
bad.
able to find them.
I'm
not trying to dictate your mission here, but
No, that's fine. It's good to have new ideas, but also I think we might go in the same direction as the cultists anyway. Maybe. So
now,
if we can
hopefully.
if we can catch up to them in time, we can just take them down and then continue.
Yes.
But
Well, do you want to get going now? Or search around the town, I suppose it is, a bit more.
Well, it appears that everything that is in the town is not worth too much or rotten. So.
I think I'm there.
I
think
suppose-
I'm ready.
I suppose that we should continue, but is it the souls or is it following the dragon cultist?
I go back to the boat and talk to Dinok
Oh yeah, he's still sitting
about
there.
the direction. So, which way now, Dinok?
I think we still need to follow the river for a bit. There's a side river a bit to the east that goes into the forest, so we can take that tributary river.
Because we might think the cultists are a bit ahead of us.
Well, it seems that for now we're going in the same direction.
Mm.
But if you want to go to the place that I was shown by the spirits, then we will have to turn to the north and follow that side river into the forest.
Okay.
So the decision will be what to do when we get to that fork.
Yeah.
Are you the leader of the group? I ask Dinok.
So I suppose I was second in command. So I suppose that
so
makes
that
me the
means-
leader.
Oh, yes.
It's
But
good
it's
to
so
have
much-
someone who can make the final decision.
Well, it seems that we don't have a choice really to make, as it is. Both of our blah, I can't speak right now. I'm so shocked by the death of Dagos. Oh. I think both of our options take us further upriver, for now at least.
Then I
Then
suppose
let's-
we should get going. Exactly.
All right, let's do it. Bethroga, you know how to sail.
Yep. I'm just gonna take the rudder.
So you push the boat off, and behind you, Grbalusht jumps into the other boat and like stuff like, "Come on, Balthazar, I'll take the oars this time."
Thank
Grabs
you.
the oars. And it starts pushing violently, so the boat rocks and sprays water all over the place, and sort of like makes its way in the wake of the other boat, which has a sail, so you don't need to row in the other boat. You can just put up that sail and stuff like. The wind is favorable, so you can go up the river that way, dragging Dagos' body in the river in your
shit.
in your wake.
There aren't any like predatory fish in this river, right?
Well, you can make a nature check. See what you know about the place.
Let's do it. 12.
Who knows?
Ah, great.
You don't think they're like piranhas or anything in this river?
I just drag him out of the water. Just onto the boat again.
All right. It's like soaked, pale, blue blotches on his skin here and there. His eyes just looking in weird
I'm just like-
directions.
I'm just looking at him like, ah. Yeah, throwing down on
Jaws
the
slack. Oh. River water just running out of his mouth and his gills.
boat. I take a. Is there like a type of blanket or something I can just cover his face?
That's his cloak of bellowing.
Oh yeah, you take his cloak of bellowing and just like
Yeah, I use
Put it
his
on.
cloak and like
cover him up.
sleep.
And then the cloak just like flies out of it. Just revealing for a single second his expression.
No.
Alright. So you continue upriver
Yeah.
for another day. And then you get to the point that Dinok talked about. A place where the large river twists slowly to the south, and then a tributary joins the river from the north, flowing into the waters. And there's sort of like choppy waters here where the waters meet. And you can see far off in the northern direction, following this branch of the river, there's a forest rising up. And then in the far distance, you can see the peaks of some mountains covered in snow. And you can like put a hand down in the side river, and it feels ice cold, this water.
Is there any indication of which way the cultists have gone? Or what we assume to be the cultists?
You can make perception checks,
Okay.
unless you have some idea of how you would figure it out.
I just look if there's, I suppose, any like freshly broken branches that would be sticking out. Like,
Yeah. All right. Make some perception checks.
You
You can
I'll
all do
do
that. No,
Oh,
Grbalusht will also do
20.
it.
oh,
20. Natural 20.
Yeah, natural 20.
So all
11.
of you start to look around, see if there's anything you can see. And Bethroga, you see that there are some like plants growing near the bank of the river that goes north that has been sort of like pushed down a bit. Some of the stems are broken. And then you see over there, there's some rocks on the bank of the river that you think has been thrown there from maybe a passing boat. And then you can see some waves further down or further up the northern river that you think has been passed by a boat recently.
Seems like some people have been here before. And it appears that wherever they wanted to go, it brought them north.
Alright.
Is that the direction we're going?
D-Lock nuts.
Okay.
That makes it simple.
It's very
Yes.
convenient.
We'll follow the trail of broken branches and footsteps.
Very good. So you turn the boats north and you start following this narrow river that really snakes its way towards the forest.
Hmm.
So you spend another day on the river, and as night approaches, you can see the edge of the forest loom up above you, as if it's raised on hills, just rising up, and then the river cuts its way through a ravine into the first part of the forest.
Oh.
And there's been like various sounds while you've been traveling up the river. The sounds of insects and birds, wild animals. But as you approach the forest, all these sounds quiet down. And as the boats slip into this ravine, everything becomes silent.
Oh. How close are we, Enoch?
It's difficult to say, but if we take this river into the forest, at some point we'll have to get off on the southern bank and then try to find this fortress on foot, I suppose.
Yeah.
It looks like this river's going to the mountains, and we shouldn't go that far. So somewhere between here and the mountains, we have to go east again.
I see. Would there be any indication of where we need to stop, or do we just have to eyeball?
The vision that the spirits gave me just showed everything from far above, as if I was flying like an eagle.
Uh-huh.
And it went very quickly, so I don't know.
Is there an easy tree nearby that I can just climb up?
These trees look very old. They have a lot of gnarly branches and sort of like other plants growing up the side of them, so they look very climbable, especially with your claws.
Yes.
And some of them are very tall.
Then I climb up with my claw, using my claws.
So you just spring off the boat, land on the side of a tree, and
I'll be
disappears
right
into the
back, guys.
branches. So you climb all the way to the top, or at least as far up as you can get.
As far as I can get at the beginning.
Hmm.
Can I see anything?
Is there anything in particular you're looking for?
If I could see like the place where we are going to stop, and if there's anything dangerous around us, or.
All right, make a perception check.
Wait. 12.
You look around and it's getting dark, but there's a full moon casting light on the forest around you. You can see in the distance these mountains, sort of like in the center of the forest, with their snowy white peaks. But then it's just forest in all directions. You can't see any black spires or anything poking out of the canopy. It looks as if no one has touched this forest for ages. No civilizations, at least.
Okay. Well, I climb down again, I guess.
You emerge from the branches, leap down into the boat.
Did you see anything?
I just saw like a big mountain in the middle of the forest. That's, yeah. But it didn't look like anything or anyone has touched this forest in a long time. So I think we're good.
Alright.
Maybe not a good sign, but yeah.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
So, you want to continue upriver, or do you want to camp, or do you want to get off on foot? Or a fourth option?
I think I want to get off on foot, because I think forest is my kind of, what is it called again?
Natural habitat?
Yeah.
Favorite terrain?
Yeah. Terrain. That's what
Also,
I was gonna do.
I mean, you are from Chult, so this forest kind of reminds you a bit about your home forest because of the trees are so huge and all the vegetation.
I'm
Except
just
that
gonna.
the forest of Chult is really noisy. This place is dead quiet.
Guys, I'll just run alongside the boat if you want to continue down the stream, and I can run in the forest.
Whatever you want.
Sounds good.
All right. So you continue up the river, and Bright Scratch runs off into the forest and was never seen again.
Tiamat got her.
So you do this, and presumably you like take turns to rest on the boat. So you don't.
I don't need to rest.
You don't need to rest. So you're just sitting all night, just staring out into the darkness.
I just read a bit. I have my book of shadows. As fun as that sounds.
Read a bit of Book of Shadows.
I just camped up in the tree, like.
Bethroga is reading Haunting of Hill Houses.
Yeah. And writing about it.
It's like already on the 5th page. What a twist. What a twist.
Because that's really typical of barbarians, and especially Bethroga. That's what she likes to do.
No one knows who's rowing the boat.
No. She's so skilled at it that she's doing it with her mind. Like, she's just sitting beside the rudder and being like, you know, what's a former sailor?
You are experienced with handling a huge sailing ship, so obviously you know how to navigate a river in the dark
And I
while
suppose
reading a book.
I will sail while Gurbalusht is resting.
All right. Very well. So you make your way through the river, through the forest. The ravine sort of like levels down, so the river bank sort of comes back down to your level. So it's as if you passed through like a barrier as you entered the forest. Still no sounds. The sun rises, starts to light down, beam through the leaves. It's very pretty in an ancient way, but also in a slightly disturbing way, maybe. Bright Scratch, make a perception check as you are running alongside.
9.
9. All right. Well, even then, I guess you're not running all the time. You're not running throughout the night, presumably.
No.
So at some point, you just sort of like just walking alongside. When you hear the first sounds in the forest, and they are the sound of breaking branches and twigs, and then silence.
I tried to follow the sound while stealthing.
All right. So make a stealth check as you crouch down out of the camera and start making your way into the forest.
24.
24.
Freaking love my stealth.
All right. So the rest of you can see Bright Scratch one moment, and then she is just gone.
Well,
And she's been within visual range all the time.
Where did she go? Right.
Well,
That's fine.
I can't exactly seem to see.
Does she do this often? Just disappear?
Quite often. At some point, she was on the ceiling for a long time without us knowing where she was. So yeah, this is pretty normal.
So we shouldn't be worried.
No. She'll be back.
Then I suppose we keep going.
Yeah.
Alright, boats continue, and then the camera pulls back, and you can see Bright Scratch making her way through the forest stealthily. You make your way sort of generally towards the sound, and you see things in the forest about the size of a horse. It looks like a horse, except that its front, instead of a head, it has the torso and the upper body of a human. It's carrying a thick longbow, a quiver of arrows, and then some like backpacks over its back. And it's sort of like if a horse could crouch, it's crouching a bit, looking through the foliage in the direction of the river. You can see its eyes sort of like tracking the boats. And nearby, you can see there's another one of them, sort of like hanging back a bit.
I sneak back to the boat again.
All right. You emerge back on a riverbank.
Hey, guys.
Yes.
There's. I heard some noises in the forest, so I went and checked it out. And there's like two things that it's half horse, half human, I think. I don't ever think I've seen that in my entire life.
I suppose I might know what a centaur is, right?
Well, probably. At least you've probably heard about them. You've maybe never seen one, but you've maybe heard about them. But you could make, I guess, nature checks if you want to see if you know anything in particular about them.
Sure.
And one of them was tracking the boat with his eyes.
Did they look aggressive?
Did they?
Are we about to be
They
on
looked
fire?
like they were keenly observing the boats and trying to stay out of view. And what did you do in your nature check?
I only did
Or
9.
history? 9. Correct. Well, you heard about them, but you don't know much about them.
I don't think they were aggressive, to say it like that. I think they were more curious about us. But yeah.
So we're not going to be attacked right now. You wouldn't assume, at least.
I won't assume that now.
Well, if we approach them carefully and politely, maybe they have some information about this place. Assuming that they speak the same language as us, of course.
Well, we can see. I look around to see if I can spot one of them, now that I've been told.
Yeah, you can make a perception check. And Bathroga, you could also do it if you want to.
Yep.
13.
13.
8.
Alright, Bathroga, you can't see anyone.
Yep.
But Balthazar, now that you know where to look, you think you can see a shape amongst the trees.
Let's just halt the boats for now. And I at least stop rowing my...
And Grubberluft earmarks one of the pages and then closes his book. Do you think we should bring weapons?
Let's just talk to them right now, I think. See if
We can talk with weapons.
I just look to where I saw the thing. We know you're here. Just come out. Unless you want to kill us, then let's talk.
You see movement among the trees.
I cast dancing lights and send them in there.
Alright, just these orbs of light. And it stirs up the forest. There's a stampede almost among the trees and the bushes. As heavy hooves thunder around suddenly. And you hear shouts, but they're not in common. They are in Elvish. Do any of you understand Elvish?
Probably the elf who's not here.
Well,
Dina!
Dina sort of stands up, looks into amongst the trees. You scared them.
Well, they wouldn't
Can
respond.
you talk to them?
I can try. What should I say? Tell them.
That we're not dangerous and that we just want to talk.
Alright, I'll do that. He like cups his hands and then shouts something in Elvish. Fla 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 fla.
Such a beautiful language.
It's Elvish. Hafla fla! Hafla! Hafla!
And then the stampede of dies down a bit. And then one of these creatures, these centaurs, steps through the bushes and onto the bank of the river. Huge bow in one hand, an arrow ready in the other hand, looking over at you. And then he says something. Fla 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 fla.
What does he say?
He says that he recognizes that I am an elf. And recognizes that you are some kind of cat lady. But he also thinks that, and he points towards Belzel, that he is a human. And he asks why we have brought a cultist to this place.
Well,
You can tell him I'm not a cultist.
Fla 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 fla. And the centaur, fla fla. And there's like an exchange between back and forth. I think I've convinced them that you have stolen that armor as a trophy of war.
Yeah.
He asks us to
trophy,
come
sure.
ashore.
Well,
Alright.
then.
Why? Does he say?
He shouts back in Elvish. That's another exchange. They have seen cultists in this forest recently. They are curious about us. They were going to attack us at first, but they are inclined to hear us out first.
No.
Oh.
Well, then should we just dock the ships here and go talk to the horsemen?
Yeah.
I suppose.
I slowly get out of the boat and like.
Alright, and you immediately sink in the water. Alright, you steer the boats ashore, and then you get out. And the centaur sort of like looks warily at you, and then looks down at Dagos lying in the water. And looks a bit alarmed.
No, he's in the boat now, isn't he?
Oh yeah, sorry.
I pulled the rope.
Yeah, that's right. So he isn't alarmed by that. He stands there, and you can see that there are other centaurs in the thicket nearby, but they're not making a move. Should I tell him about our? Well, you know what? I will just act as a translator for you. So just for the sake of the game, everything you say will be translated automatically now. I think that's easier.
It probably is.
I just stay in the back a bit.
Well,
Centaur, what brings you to our part of the world?
we're looking for a way to bring our friends' two lost souls back.
Why would that bring you here?
Well, one of our friends, actually the one translating right now, had a vision where he saw where their two lost souls went, and he said that it was about here, but we can't seem to locate it.
And you can see that Dinok elaborates a bit upon that. Fluffa, fluffa, fluffa.
Blah, blah, blah.
And it's the Dark Fortress.
Sounds nice, yes.
It isn't. It's a terrible place. I don't see why anyone would want to go there. But I suppose if you are looking for your souls, it seems like a fitting place.
Indeed. Also, no, you first.
We just need to go there and get their souls. That's what we can do for our friends right now. Because I can tell you this much, that they've done so much for us. So it's our way to repay them back.
A noble cause. We would consider aiding you, but we have problems of our own. We are not in a place to offer much assistance.
What kind of problems? Maybe if we could help you solve them, then you'd be able to help us get our friends' souls back.
It might not sound like the worst of all problems that you've ever faced before, but we have a goblin problem.
I am familiar.
Yes, we thought we were familiar with them as well. So we sent our warriors to clear them out. None of them returned.
Well,
Where is this? Where did they go?
My people used to live nearby, but we've had to evacuate what was left. The goblins are set up in an old shrine.
Hey, Balthazar, have you been through this before?
so if we remove these goblins, you'll be able to help us get the souls back.
I wouldn't ask this of you. We sent our best warriors, and we don't even know what happened to them. But if you were to do this, we would naturally offer our aid, guide you to the place.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. I think we need sorry. I think we need all the help we can get.
Probably.
Most likely.
I
Well,
can point you in the general direction without anything. And you can go on your way if you want to. As I said, we would not ask you to do this.
well, I
This forest
haven't.
has become cursed since the dragons started taking over. Which is, I'm afraid, why we're not so keen about humans at the moment. And he looks at you, Balthazar.
Understandable.
Humans always busy with their strange, dangerous magics.
I just sort of nod. Just,
You hear the voice in your head. I like this guy.
really?
Yeah, he seems nice.
Is this when you put me on a guided path to help these people?
Well, yes.
Can we actually hear him talking to him
No,
now?
but you can hear him talk out loud.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I just talk. I mean, yeah, I talk out loud, but it's not like I'm just like, yeah. But yeah,
Sort of mumbling.
under my breath.
Okay. So
I mean, that would be the right choice, but it is, at the end of the day, your choice. All I can do is not in
Drogon and Balthazar, what do you guys think we should do?
Well, I think it sounds like a great idea to help them with the goblins and then see if we could get them to help us get the souls back. The more the merrier, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're killing some goblins.
Yes.
I pull
Yes.
my axe slowly.
We're gonna go for the goblins and help you guys out.
Nice.
I appreciate that. I will have one of my scouts accompany you to the place.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Even if you can't remove the goblins, if you can at least figure out what happened to our people, that would also be of some consolation for us.
Sure.
Will do.
But I'm afraid I can't offer you any other assistance apart from that. I need all the people I have left to defend what remains.
I see.
Is your guide ready to go now?
He turns over, looking over his shoulder. Caliban! And one of the centaurs emerge. If you feel brave, then show them to the shrine. And so like, I am ever brave. But if a horse could shuffle, he's shuffling.
Well,
Nice.
I suppose we better get going now then.
Yeah.
Probably should.
Go carefully.
Can you watch over our boat and our friend in the boat?
Yeah.
We can probably do that.
Thank you.
Be careful as you wander the forest.
Yes.
Several sightings have been made. Whispers among the trees that a dragon has set up shop.
Oh,
A green dragon.
I'm pretty good in forest, so
how big?
That's good.
How big of a dragon? Do you know?
I don't know. They are rumors.
All right.
oh,
And we have other problems on our hands right now.
Of course. I suppose we better keep our eyes honed.
The other centaur, the one called Caliban, like trots up, looks at you, again, being translated through Dinog. Well, if you're ready, then I can show you the way.
Let's go.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Follow me. And he nods at the leader of the company. Turns around, and then makes his way into the forest.
Yeah, just follow.
yeah, follow.
I stay.
File.
I'll walk furthest behind.
Alright, you can see that Caliban tries to be as quiet as possible. He's not very good at it, though. But he's trying.
I'll try as well then. Nope. 5.
5.
Yeah.
You're also trying, with emphasis on trying. So like, put down one foot. Next one.
I go back in the line to Balthazar and start having a quiet conversation with him. So, Balthazar,
Yes.
I can never remember the guy you arrived with, what his name is again.
Oh, Grubbaluft.
But-
Global.
But why does he keep pushing you around all the time?
What do you mean? I owe an debt. He freed
Yeah.
me from prison.
Yeah, but still.
I wouldn't say he pushes me around, but
If you say so.
Globalist is a decent guy. I trust him. Yeah.
Not to be disrespectful or anything, but it's like I just felt like he was pushing you a lot around in the beginning when I first met you.
let's just say that if I didn't wanna follow him, I wouldn't have to. It's by choice.
I'm just curious, Yeah, but you seem like a good guy.
That can be discussed. And I just start heading a little faster.
Heading a bit faster, just crunching the leaves.
That was that conversation, I guess.
And then Globalist comes up next to you. And he is like super quiet. His feet, they are like trampling in the leaves, but there's just no sound.
Someone. Hello.
Hello. I'm trying to find my words here. Don't mind him too much. He's a special person, but he's good enough when you get to know him.
Yeah.
In the first days, he wasn't much company, to be honest.
Okay.
You
I'll
just
turn
have
him
to.
around.
You do that.
Now I start walking fast.
Also, through the forest. You stand Bethroga. Everyone seems to be in such a hurry. Maybe I should keep my voice down.
Maybe you should.
I heard you killed dragons in Daggerford. So what's another dragon to you, huh? Like, slap him on the shoulder. Dragon Slayer. Alright, he starts walking.
Oh, great.
I have to stop eating popcorn now.
Then Dinak slides up next to Bethroka. I guess we better hurry. Everyone seems to be sprinting through the forest.
Well, yeah, we probably should.
Alright, let's go. Oh, it also starts.
Run through the forest.
Alright, and as you start running, Cannibal sort of like sees you also running and what the heck, and he also starts. So you noisily make your way through the forest. All of you make perception checks as you push your way through the dense bushes and low-hanging branches.
With this dice.
Oh, natural 20.
Natural 20?
Yay.
5.
18.
18. Alright, I guess. Good evolution.
Busting out
So-
a different set of dice.
Alright, so Bethroga and Bright Scratch.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to be oblivious to it. But all of you see something moving amongst the trees in the distance. Some sort of large shadow.
Oof.
And as you look in its direction, it starts receding away.
I'll be right back, guys. I have to check this thing out. What that I see in the distance?
What thing?
I don't know. I see it's just a big ass shadow. I want to see what it is. So I try to stealth my way through to see if I can get closer.
Alright, make a stealth check.
21.
21.
Hmm?
Alright. You crouch down and start making way through the trees, through the bushes. By the time you get to the place where you saw the shadow, there's nothing to be seen around. All you can see are big like footprints in the undergrowth.
Can I recognize what kind of footprints it is?
You can make a nature check.
10.
10.
Yeah.
It looks like something you're very familiar with. In Chult, there are all these giant lizards walking among the trees. Some of the people from Port Nianzaro call some of them Tyrannosaurus Rex. This is about that size. Kind of looks like that. You're not sure if these creatures are native to the Sword Coast.
Can I see anything else around me or here? And
You can't see anything apart from the forest around you, but you can make a survival check to see if you can do some tracking on these footprints.
18.
18. You can see there's another one over there, and then there's like a scratch mark on a tree over there. And then after a few like steps, they disappear. Some of them, like the last prints, are pretty deep, as if something pushed off the ground.
Okay. I go back to the others. Like,
Alright, you re-emerge from the forest.
well, when I got to where the shadow thing was, I saw it wasn't there anymore, but there was some really big footprints on the ground.
Like dragon big?
Yeah, lizard and a bit bigger, so probably dragon. Yeah. And there was a scratch on a tree, I noticed.
It was like a bright scratch on the dark wood.
But yeah, there was also some more prints, like a tiny path through the forest, but then it was just gone. They just like, there was no more tracks.
Well,
So, whatever they are, they seem able to fly or climb trees. Guess we're dealing with a dragon again. Nice.
well, I don't know about you, but I would prefer fighting goblins to a dragon.
Yes.
Yeah, I would too. Just a little bit.
So let's just see if we can keep going.
Yeah. While I'm walking, I just like look up in the sky to see if there's anything above us.
Alright, you can make like perception checks just for the trip. As you look, it's difficult to see because there are a lot of trees covering the sky. So
23.
23,
Should we all do it? Oh,
if you want to.
Sure.
I'm doing it too, so.
This dice was not better. Natural one.
I think
No!
you guys were drunk and it was a natural 20 again.
Oh,
Damn digital dice.
You just look up, scan the sky. You see something, but it's just a bird, and you know exactly how distant it is. It's some kind of blackbird, and it's half a mile away in the sky.
Oh, beautiful.
Exactly. Heading east. But none of you see any signs of a dragon in the sky.
Oh,
In fact, there's very little activity in the sky, despite this being a huge ass forest. You follow Caliban for hours as you make your way through this gnarly old forest. Have to climb over rocks, move under fallen trees, cut your way through bushes and all that stuff. And then at some point, he motions you to crouch down.
alright.
From here on, we must be extra careful. Yonder, that tree, and there was a huge tree that is sort of like been split apart. So there's an entrance, like a passage through it. There's a hill. Sorry, I should lower my voice. There's a hill. And on that hill, there's the shrine. And that is where our warriors went. That is where the goblins are holed up.
Alright.
Good to know.
You just continue straight ahead. I'm afraid I cannot follow.
Well,
We'll deal with your goblin problem as promised. And hopefully we'll return shortly. With a few goblin skins and goblins cut in half and stuff.
That would be very, very much appreciated. But be careful.
We will.
The warriors that were sent to deal with them were not to be trifled with. And they know the forest. They knew the forest. Be careful. And he slowly trots backwards into the bush.
Bush just comes back like that. Nice.
And then comes backwards. Oh yeah, and never mind.
By the way, guys.
By the way, I forgot to tell you this really important thing.
Yeah. Should we just keep moving forward?
Head through the tree. Quietly, probably.
Of course.
Quietly. Let's move forward quietly.
I use my stealth.
Yeah. I still walk in the back.
I try to be quiet.
Yeah,
Alright,
me too.
everyone roll stealth checks.
What's the modifier for stealth?
Dexterity.
This dice has to be good just once.
Oh shit.
This wasn't it.
6.
10.
How did you do?
11.
10, 11.
And
Must
six,
work.
right?
6.
That's
Damn
not
it!
good.
What did you roll?
I rolled a 6.
A 6. Alright.
Yeah, that's not good.
Alright. So in general, you're not being super quiet as you're making your way forward. Sort of like bumping into each other and shh. Except for Grbalusht. He just stands there for a moment in like one sunbeam coming down from through the foliage. And then you blink and it's as if he is gone.
No.
He's vanished. And then you hear the voice. Don't worry, I'm still nearby.
Man.
Where am I? And his voice comes from another direction. Over here.
Alright, let's just keep going.
Alright. But you start making your way ahead. Alright. So you approach this tree and you make your way through the passage. And beyond it, you can see the land gently rising up towards a hilltop, still covered with trees and forests. Forests? Like forests, just in general. Several forests. And you can see some black stones standing in not a circle this time, sort of like an irregular pattern up there, but clearly artificial in nature. You can also hear voices coming from the top of the hill. High-pitched voice like and you can hear faint sounds of like
Oh no, I'm getting PTSD. I guess Balthasar is too, because he remembers this.
Oh yeah. So yeah, you just get flashbacks. But you can also see right in front of you, much closer, there's a fallen tree. And on that tree, 2 goblins sit and they share some kind of lunch made of, looks like mushrooms and some meat of some sort, and just like bickering over it in their own language.
The moment I see them, I cast Firebolt.
Alright, you just see them.
Fireball!
Alright, let's just have a roll to see if you hit. With advantage because they haven't seen you, despite your pitiful rolls.
I jump into a near bush so I can hide.
18.
You're already hiding. 18. So yeah, you hit one of them. Just give him some damage.
Where is it? There it is.
Oh, this is a page I've not used in a long time. Goblin.
Oh, that is really good though. 19 damage.
Damn.
Jesus.
19. 19 damage?
I'm level 5, so it's 2 dice.
Oh shit, yes. Yeah, you heard that firebolt, and it hits one of them, the one that's sort of like holding the beat, and then just like senses this firebolt approaching. He looks over and it hits his head and just explodes in green skin, bits of teeth, and flames. The other one looks at the mushroom he was eating, clutching his stomach. And then he looks over at you, and there's just like this zoom effect where you're just standing there in your cloak and everything, your hands smoking from the spell.
And I'm just in a bush.
And everyone else is hiding around. And I think that is where we'll end tonight. It's
Okay.
7,
Yeah.
so 9. So yeah, I'll just write no more 2 goblins.
Just the one.
Just one. That was very effective.
Balthazar didn't
19 damage on a fireball.
Yeah, I rolled a 10 and a 9.
Damn.
So my d20 is shit, but my d10 is perfect.
Nice.
Yeah, the last time Balthazar dealt with goblins, that didn't go too well. So I think he would just fuck him up.
This might be an opportunity to sort of like get some closure on all that Sunless Citadel business.
Yeah, see if I can actually hit someone this time.
All right. So we will not be back next Thursday because I am away, unless you guys want to do anything.
Well,
I guess not.
props. Unless told otherwise, then not.
Yeah. So the next time will be the 25th of July. And then I think from then on we should have a pretty regular schedule once more.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to say before we end?
I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, good to have you back.
Aww.
I am looking forward to trying out this new character.
Yeah, that's some decent damage. We might have a contender for Bethroga.
Aw, damn it.
Well, let's see now.
Who can split the most goblins or explode the most heads?
I'm ready.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
if you want to watch past episodes, we have a YouTube channel called Double Dragon Trouble, where we have uploaded all past episodes. And we
I
have a
can
Twitter
link it.
called Double Dragon Trouble. Yeah, where we usually update about streams. And yeah, we'll see you next time for some more Dragon Trouble.
I'm gonna
Goblet
link
Trouble.
our YouTube channel in the chat.
All right. There's also
Even
a
though
link. There's a
it's
link
on the
below the
page.
stream. Yeah. So.
But I'll just do it because then people can,
Yeah.
you know.
And